Hi, I'm Veronica, and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. For today's class, you're just going to need light weights. I have 2 pounds, but anything 5 pounds or under is perfectly fine. You can also choose not to use weights and just use the weight of your arms if you would like. And to get started, we're going to come onto our backs. Finding a nice, comfortable spot on your back. Just let your tailbone be nice and heavy, and then just make little, push any drinks out of the way, make little cactus arms with your elbows so that your, elbows are in line with your shoulders, and then have your feet about as wide as your mat, and then just let your knees fall in towards one another, and then let them start to fall out to the side, and then let them fall in again towards one another. Just make sure you're breathing. Don't worry about how you're inhaling or exhaling. Just breathing to start getting your body moving. If you're super tight across your chest, think about reaching through the forearms away to create a little extra space. One more time like this. And then walk your feet until they're a little bit narrower. You can leave your arms like this or bring them down by your side, your choice. And then you're just going to let your knees fall over to one side and then over to the other. Doing a little windshield wiper motion here. 1 or 2 more times to each side. Good, and then pause at the top. And then from here, you can bring your arms by your side or onto your pelvis and abdominals, your choice. But you're just going to take a big inhale. Feel your ribs expand wide to the side, gently into the back of the mat. And then as you exhale, you're going to feel your abdominals engage. The ribs go towards one another, that lift of your pelvic floor. And then again, inhale. And exhale. Starting to find that engagement, the little lift and in of the belly button, and in. And exhale. On your inhale this time, you're going to stay still, but on your exhale, you're going to start to pull that, or tuck that tailbone under, draw the pubic bone up towards the ceiling, creating that, or getting rid of that lack of space in between you and the floor. And then on your inhale, come back to neutral. And then inhale, feel your hips come up towards your ribs, press the low back gently into the floor, and release. Inhale in, exhale, release. To that scoop. Find that length and stretch through the low back. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then from here, find a nice neutral pelvis. If you prefer to do this in a scoop, no problem, but whatever you do, have it be intentional, and you want to keep that the entire time. You're going to inhale and float your right leg up to tabletop, and then exhale, lower it down. Same side, inhale, float that leg up. The distance between your ribs and hips is not changing, and you're not rocking your weight from one side to the other, and lower down. 4 more. Relax the shoulders, back ribs are heavy on the mat. 2 more, left leg doesn't move. And last one. And then extend that leg long to a 45-degree angle, and then resist as you bring it back in. And then extend it long, resist as you bring it back in. 3 more. Again, keeping your weight even from your right side to your left, not just through the hips, but also the shoulders. Last one. And then float that leg all the way down, switching sides, lift that left leg up into tabletop, and then lower down. And float it up and down. 3 more. 2. And last one. I lied. 2 more. Too early for counting. Last one, pause it at the top, and then extend that leg long. Resist to bring it back in. And extend. And resist. Think about reaching long through the sitting bone as you bend that knee. 2 more. And last one. And then lower that leg all the way down. Reach your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Feet stay planted. And then you're going to reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling and feel your shoulder blades gently lift off the mat and separate away from one another in your spine. And then exhale, feel them drop down so your shoulder blades are really heavy on the floor. And then reach out, feel that separation, and then release back down. Lift up and release. Keeping those hands right in line with your shoulders. 2 more. Last one. Good. And then go ahead and find your light weights. Having your arms right in line with your shoulders, your palms are going to face away from you, and you want your wrists not to be like this. You want your knuckles pointing straight up towards the ceiling. If it's helpful, you can have your fingertips be nice and long and just sort of let the weights hang in your hands, but you want to keep those wrists nice and strong. Keeping your head and feet on the ground, you're just going to lower your arms towards your hips. Feel that engagement through the abdominals, and then lift up just to shoulder height. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift. 4 more. 3. And make your range of motion one towards the floor that feels good for you and your arms. So if this is bothering your shoulder to go too low, don't worry, just go down halfway, or don't go up all the way, or drop your weights. Lots of options here. Good. Pause with the arms at the top. Lift the right leg into tabletop, and now take your arms slightly overhead. This is going to be the start of your range of motion. You're going to press all the way down towards your hips if that feels good, and then lift back up slightly overhead. The rib cage stays unchanged, as do the hips. And lift. 3 more. Really feel that press and initiation come from the back and the back of the arms. Your armpits are doing work here as well. Last one, and we're going to switch to the left side. Pause with the arms just in line with the shoulders, lower the right leg, lift the left. Arms come slightly back overhead, and then back down. Again, your range of motion. If at any point having the legs lifted is too much, then just return to whatever position feels good. 3 more. 2. And last one. And then pause with your arms in line with your shoulders. Take a big inhale. Exhale. Float that left, or the right leg rather, up to meet the left. Same thing with the arms, legs stay still here. Lower down and lift. If you're just using a reformer, you can think about this as the arm work. 2 more. Last one. Pause with the arms in line with your shoulders. Tap the right leg down as you lower the arms. Lift up, lift the arms and legs at the same time. So lower everything down and lift. Alternating sides here. We're going to do 4 to each side. Keep thinking about those abdominals drawing down towards the floor. Head is staying on the ground. Let your gaze be gently by your nose. Don't let it follow those weights as you go overhead. 1 more to each side. Last one to the left. Pause with both legs up. Bend the elbows straight down by your side. And now you're going to press the arms long, extend the legs. Bend the arms, bend the legs. Press and extend. Your arms can lift and be hovering off the floor if that's comfortable. So you're going from 90 to extended. And if you would like, you're going to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up as you extend the arms and legs, like so. Ribs drawing in. Abdominals, as always, are not pressing up towards the ceiling. I'm going to keep my head down. You have 4 more. 3, really feel that engagement through the back of the arm as you squeeze the tricep. Lengthen the arm. 2 more. And last one. Good. Bring the arms all the way down, lengthen them by your sides, place the weights down, and give yourself a little hug and gently rock back and forth from one side to the other here. Good. And then from here, you're going to place your feet down and then roll over onto one side, whichever side you would like. Get your hair out of the way if you need. And you're gonna have one weight with you. And you can just leave that straight in front of you. You're gonna have your shoulder right over your elbow. And you can either press your hand into the ground or your forearm, but either way, make sure you're not here. Think about lengthening that top side and the bottom side so that your hips are stacked and you're nice and lifted and supported off of the floor. From here, you're just gonna come into a little clamshell. Make sure you're not popping your ribs, you're staying in a nice neutral pelvis. And externally rotate, keeping those feet together, and open for 4, 3, 2 more. Last one. You can keep the feet together and you're gonna keep the knees together, and now you're lifting the foot. So you have a slight internal rotation. Your range of motion may be super tiny. Maybe it's bigger than in external rotation. Either way, whatever works for you. For 3, 2, last one. Lift that leg in line with your hip and then extend that leg forward and then tap the leg down and lift. Trying to keep the thighs both in line with one another. If you need to move your bottom leg under a little, that's totally fine. Again, keep reaching through the tailbone, finding length with the crown of the head. 3, 2, last one. Pause with the knee pointing forward, sweep the leg back, and then sweep it forward and back. Just in line with your hip, and then just in line with the bottom thigh. And back and forward. You can also do this laying down on your side, using your arm for support for your head. 2 more. Last one. Leave that leg long, tap it down and lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, good. Reach long out of that side again. Make sure you're not collapsing, lifting the ribs, pressing through that bottom arm and the shoulder. 2, last one, bend that leg on top of the bottom one. You can stay here or you can come up into a modified side plank, your choice. But either way, you're gonna take your weight and you're gonna have your shoulder like more or less right in line with your hip. And then you're just gonna externally rotate and bring that wrist so that the palm is facing forward, and then you're just gonna lower in line with your body. And then lift it up and lower and lift and lower. Good. Keeping that arm nice and close to your side, but don't pin it to your side so that you're hindering your range of motion. 3 more. 2. Neck is nice and long. Last one. Pause with that arm, palm facing away from you, and then lift it straight up towards the ceiling, and then draw it back down by your side. And then lift it straight up and back down. 4 more. 3 straight up. So think about just opening up from that elbow as you press up rather than pressing away and getting your shoulder all out of alignment. 2 more. Last one, leave that arm long and then resist as you bring it forward. And then resist as you bring it back up. And then resist it down, just in line with your shoulder. Again, pressing up from that underside of your body and lift. 3 more. 2. And last one. Leave that arm long, reach it overhead, and take a nice big stretch. And then lower that arm down, and we're going to trade sides. So, starting without the weight. Knees are stacked one on top of the other, pressing down now through that left shoulder. Find that length through both sides. Your hips are nice and stacked. And then your arm can be in front of you, on your hip, wherever. You can also lay all the way down on your side. Keeping both feet together, you're going to come into a little clamshell and then resist it back down. Keep thinking about that wrap of the abdominals and the lift of your pelvic floor, that little jellyfish motion. You're kind of holding it halfway up. Someone once explained it to me like it's an elevator and it's 10 stories. And when you're doing movements and you're not fully releasing or sort of keeping that tension on the pelvic floor, you're like only going down to, the 3rd floor and then up to like 8. You're not holding on for dear life. You're just kind of like a jellyfish or an elevator. I found it very useful. 3 more. 2. And last one, knees stay together, feet lift, or foot rather lifts. Just that tiny little internal movement. And if you are much tighter on one side, like right now, my hip is crazy tight and a little sore on the right side, so my range of motion is super small. 2 more. Last one. Lift that leg up and then extend it long in front of you. Have it just in line with the bottom thigh and then lower and lift for 8. 7. Shoulders are relaxed. 6. Make sure you're still pressing away from the floor. You haven't started sinking. For 3. 2. Last one. Keep the leg long. Sweep it just in line with your hip without arching the back and then sweep it forward. Keep thinking about reaching through the sitting bone as you bring it forward and then supporting yourself through your core as you bring it back. 3 more. 2. And last one. Pause with it back and then lower and lift for 6. We did 10 on the other side. I don't know why I said 6. I would say it's early, but I can never count. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one, bring that leg, stack it one on top of the other. Again, if you'd like, you can do this in a side plank, but I will continue to just stay in this current position. So, elbow toward your side, but not glued in, just sort of floating there. And then you're gonna rotate your palm towards the floor, wrist is nice and straight. And then rotate your palm to face your computer maybe, or the wall in front of you. And up. Your gaze can be at your arm, but ideally it's straight out ahead of you just to keep your spine in nice alignment. But peek if you need. And resist down. And up. 3 more. 2. And last one. Pause with that arm up, palm facing away. Lift the elbow, open through the elbow, lift the arm straight up towards the ceiling, and then resist as you bring it back down. And then lift up. Again, rather than thinking about pressing up, which changes your whole movement, think about just opening and gliding that elbow open, the shoulder slides gently. 4 more. It's also much harder that way. You're welcome. Also sorry. 2. And last one. Leave the arm lifted, resist to bring it down. And up. And lower down. And up. Again, if this is too much, just drop your weight at any point. 3 more. 2. And last one. Leave that arm lifted and then just take a nice big stretch overhead. Let your head go. And then lower your weight all the way down. And you can come onto all fours. Bring your weights towards the top of your mat. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I need to turn the intercom off so you don't have to hear other you making ridiculous noises while getting their diaper changed. Sorry about that. Okay, find yourself on all fours. Have your knees underneath your hips, your hands underneath your shoulders, and then just find a nice neutral position. So your spine is nice and long, reaching from the crown of the head away from the tailbone. And then from here, you're just going to tuck your tailbone under, draw your hips towards your ribs as you start to round your body, drop your head. So we're going to go tailbone up to the head. And then same thing, widen your sitting bones. Let your abdominals slowly descend towards the floor, but keeping them supported, and then reach long through your arms, trying to show a necklace off to someone in front of you, maybe a dog or a child. And then curl your tailbone under, or a cat. And then again, untuck the tailbone, something close to the ground. And find that length. And then again, curl the tailbone under, round up towards the ceiling. Uncurl. Find that length. And then find a nice neutral spine one more time. From here, you're going to walk your hands out slightly ahead of your shoulders. And then you're just going to lower down and drop onto your forearms. From here, you're going to press into your hands and lift up. And then drop down to those forearms. If you prefer to have your arms a little bit closer to you, find the distance of your hands from your body that makes sense. If it works for you to have your hands right underneath your shoulders, go for it. I'm somewhere in between. 4 more. Making sure that your abdominals come with you as you press back up. 3 more. 2. And last one. And then pause at the top, walk your hands straight back underneath you. And sort of like what we did laying on the ground before, you're gonna let your shoulder blades slide towards one another, your sternum drops towards the floor, press away, feel the shoulder blades spread away from your collarbone, or from your spine rather, and then sink down, and then press away. Using your whole hand here, really working on that mobility through your scapula. 3 more. 2. And last one, pause at the top. Good. From here, you are going to extend your right leg back behind you. And then grab your weight with your right hand. We're going to do 2 different things here on the right side and then with the right hand, and then we'll switch to the other side. So float that right leg up. Bring yourself with that right hand into a row. I said right leg, I meant left leg, your opposite sides. And then you're going to lower your hand down, lower your leg down, and then lift. And then lower the arm, lower the leg, lift. 4 more like this. 3. 2, shoulder is staying more or less in the same place. Your elbow is just lifting straight up. Hand towards your hip. 2. And last one, pause at the top. Now, you're going to extend your arm straight back behind you and bend your leg. And then bend the arm, extend the leg. So you're kind of doing an opposite motion with the arm and the leg. But the focus here is feeling that squeeze of the hamstring as you bring that leg in, a little lift from the glute as well. And then extend that arm back into your little tricep kickback. 4 more. 3. 2. Last one. Lower the arm, lower the leg. Shake out your wrists for a second if you need. We have 1 more thing on that side. And then come back down, grab onto the weight again. Extend that right leg, or left leg rather, back behind you. Lift the right arm up. Lift through the left leg, keeping this arm where it is. You're going to tack the leg down and lift for 8, 7, 6, breathing here, 5, 4, 3, wrapping that core, 2, last one, pause here, extend the arm, bend the leg, and then pulse the leg up for 10, 9, keep reaching long through the arm, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, lower everything all the way down. Shake those wrists out again if you need, and we will switch sides. So here you're going to have the weight underneath your left hand. I got confused. Right leg out behind you. Lift that leg, lift the arm. Again, hand back towards your hips, elbow reaching up towards the ceiling. Lower down and lift. Making sure that you're breathing before you initiate your movement. Don't worry about your legs staying totally straight. Just think about lifting from where the hamstring meets the glute. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Pause here. Extend the arm as you bend the leg, and extend the arm. Using your breath. 6 more. Good, really reaching back through the knuckles, keeping that wrist nice and straight. Your gaze is more or less straight down or slightly ahead of you, keeping that spine in alignment through the neck. 2, and last one. And then bend the knee in, lower the wrist, give your wrists a little shake out. And then come back, and we will finish on this side. So right leg back behind you. Lift that left arm up. Find your little row position here. Find the wrap of your abdominals. Lift through the pelvic floor. Lift that right leg. Tap it down and lift for 10. I think we only did 8 on the other side. So 6, 5, 4. Watch that elbow isn't hyperextending on the right side. 3, 2. Last one. Extend the arm. Bend the leg. Pulse it up for 10, 9, 8, 7. Make sure your shoulder is staying nice and lifted on that left side. You're not collapsing towards the floor. For 3, 2. Last one, lower the arms down. Push your weights off to the side. Lower the leg. Bring your knees slightly back behind your hips. Sit back towards your heels. And then come around and make a little circle with those hips. And around. 2 more in this direction, and then reverse. So you're starting to find a little bit of a plank here, depending on how far forward you're coming. 2. 1 more in this direction. Good, bring your knees back underneath you, and then bring your thumbs inside of your fists and wrap them around, and then place the back sides of your hands on the mat. You can sit back towards your heels, or you can keep your weight over your hands, whatever feels better. Just stretching out the backs of those wrists. Good. Whatever you're doing, make sure you're pressing away from the floor and not just sinking down. And then you're going to come forward onto your stomach. You can keep your weights close by if you would like to. You're going to have your hands right underneath your shoulders, and then tuck the tailbone under so you have a little lift through the abdominals. The nose can just be gently grazing the floor. And from here, you're just going to inhale, exhale, press gently into the floor, and then think about rolling a marble forward with your nose. Your legs can be wide if you need, but they're staying on the floor, and then lower all the way back down. You want to feel that lift coming from that mid back, not the low back. So if you get up to a certain height and you start to feel it in your low back, lower down a little, but also tuck that tailbone under a tiny bit more. Find the lift through the abdominals, and slowly lower all the way back down. 2 more just like this. And lower. And lift. And lower. Notice too if maybe you get a little bit higher each time. And last one. And lower all the way down. You can bring your head to one side, shake your hips from one side to the other, give them a little rest here. And then if you'd like to grab onto your weights, you're going to do so now. And you're going to flip your palms up to face the ceiling by your side. Your shoulders can round forward. Again, give your hips a little shake. And then from here, tuck the tailbone under. Find that length through the low back and the lift of your abdominals. Gently externally rotate the shoulders, pick them up off the ground, and then float your arms in line with your hips. If you have your weights here, you're doing the exact same thing. Just maybe think knuckle instead of fingertips. You're going to reach your fingertips towards the floor. Lengthen the front of your torso without crunching through the back. Tuck that tailbone under a little bit more. And then lower everything all the way down. Keep the shoulders lifted. Again, rotate the head to face the floor. Lift and reach. Palms lift just a little bit here. wrist stay strong, and then lower all the way back down, other cheek. Reach and lift, finding that length through the front. And down. One more time, we'll lift. Pause here, you're gonna pulse your arms up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Gentle external rotation through that arm without pinching the shoulder blades towards one another. Tailbone towards the floor. 3, 2, last one. Lower all the way down, but make a little pillow for your forehead. So your chest is like ever so slightly lifted off the floor here, but your head is down. And then you're just gonna reach long through your right leg, so long so that it just starts to float up off the floor. You may not lift your entire thigh, that's totally fine. And then reach through the other side, float it up and down. Hips stay nice and square, you're not rocking from one side to the other. If it is uncomfortable, you can always put a little towel underneath your hips and pelvis. And back down. Or under your chest if you need as well. And to the left side, keep reaching. Find that length through the front of your leg. You should be getting a little bit of hip extension, even if that thigh is not lifting. That should be the ultimate goal. 2 more. Relax those shoulders. Don't let them creep up by your ears. Last one to each side. Good, and then lift both legs now together. Float them up and back down. And lift and lower. 3 more. 2, make sure you're not bending those legs, which is the hardest thing for me. Pause and keep them lifted. Bring the heels together, flex the feet, reach long through the knees, through the front of the thigh, and then extend the legs long. Bend, flex the feet, bring the heels together, give the butt a little squeeze, and extend. And bend. Again, the upper body is not working here. 4, and extend. And you are reaching long through those knees, through the thigh. 2. Abs drawing away from the floor, that tailbone is still tucked under. Last one. Pause with the heels together and squeeze them together for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, extend the legs long. Give the hips a little shake. Again, from one side to the other. And then press yourself back into a nice child's pose. Knees are wide. Reach the forehead towards the ground. Try to find length through your spine. Good, and then from here, you're gonna come onto your back. And then if you want, take those weights with you. I would put them down by your hips if you are going to use them. And find that place where your head is flat on the floor. And from here, take yourself into a nice neutral pelvis. Arms are nice and long. If your weights are near, make sure they're out of the way enough that you can place your arms on the ground. And then really think about externally rotating the upper arm and just opening through the collarbone. Tuck the tailbone under, feel the low back gently press into the mat, and then you're gonna peel yourself up one vertebrae at a time into a bridge. Press your feet like they're gonna go through the floor and then slightly back towards you, and then peel yourself all the way back down. Curl the tailbone under, lift, and lower back down. 2 more. Trying to find that little bit of extra length, like your hips are touching down a millimeter farther away from your head than they were when you picked it up. Last one. Pause here at the top. You can grab onto those weights if you'd like, and you're just gonna reach your arms straight up towards the ceiling. If you don't want the weights, you can just lift your arms up, or you can just skip the upper body altogether in this. You're gonna lift your right leg up into tabletop. You're gonna extend your right leg long, and then bend it in. And extend, and bend. Keeping those hips at a hover. Whatever height they're at, you should have them be nice and square to the ceiling, and that they're staying at the same height. You can always drop your hips and do this otherwise. Good. Pause with that leg bent. You're going to extend the left arm overhead as you extend the right leg and bring it back in. Just a slight move with the arm. You're not going too far back overhead. You still want to keep that connection through the ribs. 3, 2, and last one. Good. Lower that leg down. Curl the tailbone under, lower the spine down, one vertebrae at a time, and then peel the spine back up. Really tuck under, really press through those feet. Find yourself in a nice, comfortable bridge height here. Press down through the right leg, float the left leg up. Right leg doesn't move. Extend the left leg long, resist to bring it back in. Think like you still have 2 little magnets connecting the inner thighs to one another so that right leg isn't falling out to the side. Hips are square. One is also not hiking up towards your shoulders. 2 more. And last one. Good. Bend that leg in. Extend the leg as you extend the right arm. Really think about that lift through the pelvic floor. Making sure you're breathing before you initiate. 2 more. Wrists are strong. Last one. Good. Lower that leg down, curl the tailbone under, keep those arms right where they are. From here, you're going to bend the elbows by your side as you lift your hips straight up, and then press the arms up as you lower your hips down. And then bend, open them wide so your shoulders, or elbows rather, are more or less in line or slightly closer to your hips. Then your shoulders. Lift. And I'm just barely touching my butt towards the ground. 5 more. 4, 3, 2. Creating that resistance even though these weights are nice and light. Last one. Pause here with your hips at the top. Lift the arms up. And then you're going to float yourself down 1 vertebrae at a time. Keep those arms lifted, or you can bring them slightly back overhead to give you a little extra stretch if that feels good. I'm going to drop the weights and lower your hips all the way down. Bring those feet wide towards your mat, and then you're just going to windshield wiper them once or twice to each side. Next time you come to the right side, you're going to pick your right foot up and place it gently over your left foot, getting a little stretch through that left side. Keep the shoulders down. Keep breathing into this here. And then unhook that leg and then come up and over to the other side. So now your left ankle or foot is going to hook over that right leg. And try to think about breathing into that back, that left hip, or right hip rather, and IT band. Good. And then from here, come over onto one side, and then you're going to push yourself up, and you're going to come into all fours again. So we are going to do a little bit of bear planks, and then find 1 or 2 full planks. Sometimes think bear planks are the harder of the 2 things, but here we are because why not? Okay, so tuck your toes under, have your knees right underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to do one of those little scapula push-ups here. So you're going to let your shoulder blades come towards your spine and then press up, find the lift through the abdominals, through the shoulders, and then all that engagement of these tiny muscles supporting your shoulder here in your back and your ribs. On your exhale, you're going to float those legs up just to a few inches above the ground. And then inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower down. 2 more just like this. Inhale. And then exhale, lift. Lower down. Lift and hold. From here, you're going to extend your right leg back behind you, your left leg back behind you. Tuck the tailbone under. You can always drop to your knees if you need. And then you're gonna lower your elbows back by your body, press down, lift up into that push-up position, curl those toes under if you're on your knees, bring your left foot in, bring your right foot in, and then lower all the way down. We're gonna do 4 more of those. We're gonna do 2 leading with the right and 2 leading with the left. Sorry, we're doing 5 more, so we're even. Inhale, exhale, lift, right leg out, left leg out, going into your push-up, and then right leg in, left leg in. One more time on that right leg. Lower all the way down. Come into that bear plank, and then drop the knees. If you would like for the next 3 on the left side, leading with the left leg, you can stay in that bear plank the whole time. Inhale, exhale, feel that connection as you extend the left leg, right leg, come into that push-up. Left leg leads, right leg. Left leg, right leg. Find your plank. Drop to the knees if you need. Lower down into that push-up. Exhale on the up. And then come back into that bear plank. You have 1 more. Extend. Extend. Tuck that tailbone under gently. Find the length through the front of your body. And then bend into your push-up. Curl those toes under. Find your bear plank. And then lower everything all the way down. Sit back onto your heels for a second. Roll out your wrists. Something so simple can just be oh so challenging. Curl those toes under. Exhale, lift. And then you're just going to sit back towards your heels on the left side. Come forward. Sit back on your heels towards the right. And forward. So you're just shifting your weight here. Kind of like you would in a plank. 1 more time to each side. These are a real killer on the thighs. Good pause in the center. Lower all the way down. And then you're going to walk yourself back into either a full plank or a plank on your knees. Your choice. I'm going to come into a kneeling plank. Find that plank. Find the length through the front of your body, the tuck of the tailbone. And then you're going to either come into a down dog or sit your hips back into a child's pose, your choice. And then come forward, find your plank. And then back. And forward. 2 more. Really feel that little sternum drop, the connection that you found from that. 2. The wrap through the abdominals, the engagement of truly the whole body here. Last one. Everyone can come into a full plank, and you're going to lift into a down dog, or keep your knees bent a whole bunch. Not or. If you need to, bend your knees. Shake your head out. And then walk yourself back towards your feet. And then let your head be nice and heavy here. Walk over to the left side, reach back through the right sitting bone. And then over to the other side. And then come to the center. Keep those knees nice and bent. And you're going to peel yourself all the way up, 1 vertebrae at a time. And then once you're stacked up nice and tall here, you are going to come and sit on the ground 1 last time. You can sit side or cross-legged or with your legs straight out in front of you, your choice. You're just going to extend your arms out to the side and then reach long through the elbows, bring your hands behind your head, and think about lifting up nice and tall but dropping the ribs. You're just going to rotate towards the right and center. Think about coming tall out of your head, crown of your head, lifting out of your seat as you rotate. Once more to each side. And center and left. And from here, you're going to side bend up and over towards the right side, and then lower your arm down. Keep reaching with that left arm behind your head, not collapsing though, finding that length as you stretch. Press into the floor with that right hand, and then come all the way up. Hand comes back behind your head. Side bend over to the left. Reach down as you keep side bending. Try to use the press of that left hand to find the space on the right side. And stack yourself up nice and tall. Lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Externally rotate the arms. Press down. Feel your ribs drop. Yourself grow a little taller. And then let your arms find your sides. And you are all finished. Thanks.